The best coaches in the NFL don't coach scared.
I don't know if Lombardi does that. I don't know if Hallis does that.
That is one of the gutsiest calls of all time.
It doesn't take guts to do something stupid.
Watch this fella jump out of the stands. He appears to be at least 10 feet off the ground.
This is a don't try this.
No, don't try this.
It may take guts, but it also takes an absence of brains.
There's a fine line between gutsy and stupid. And sometimes the boldest moves don't work out.
Put the ball in Brady's hands and try to end it.
What a gutsy call by Belichick.
You've got a bad team. You've got one good player.
Gut check time.
Banksy, you set on his fake if we run it?
Black is Hostetler. He's throwing a pass. Wide open as Carl Banks.
I think the gutsy decisions are ones that are the right one to make, even though you know you'll be criticized for having made them.
Barry Switzer makes the call. They give it to Smith. He doesn't make it. They give it to Smith and they stop him again.
I know where Dallas fans rank that on the all-time list of dumbest calls.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I'm never going to say somebody else is stupid because Mike Ditka's not a stupid man.
What a decision, huh? The wind is the reason.
It's decision time, and we've got our list of the bravest, boldest, gutsiest calls of all time.
These types of plays aren't called from the heart.
That was my call. You ripped me.
They're called from the gut.
Parcells said it. You gotta have balls to win this game.
The number 10 gutsiest call of all time. Belichick's 4th and 2.
In the great movie Spinal Tap, one of the characters, Nigel Tufnell, says it's that fine line between stupid and clever. Belichick was treading that fine line.
And the Patriots are going to go for it on 4th down. I can't believe this.
4th and 2 from your own 28. You have a lead on the road. $1:28 to play.
He's going for the win right here.
A call doesn't have to work to be gutsy. And our number 10 call was an example of when fortune did not favor the bold.
It is short of the first down. It is short. The Colts take over.
Everyone stood there with their mouths open.
With a short field, Peyton Manning quickly marched the Colts toward a game-winning touchdown.
I'd love to see what the other 9 gutsy calls are on this list for this to be number 10.
4th down on their own 28?
Yep.
With a 6-point lead?
Yep.
How do you have 3 Super Bowl rings? That's nuts.
If you've won Super Bowls, if you've coached at that level, you get a pass, man.
I love the call. You know, Coach being aggressive, and I love that about him, and he gave us a chance to make the play.
Bill doesn't wear those rings because he's a timid individual.
That should never be stunned by Bill Belichick.
He's very willing to do things that are unorthodox.
Field goal attempt for Adam Vinatieri. It's a fake. Pass to the left. Touchdown, Patriots.
Doesn't think twice about it. That's the way to win.
With New England, you kind of expect the unexpected.
Are you kidding me?
If Marty Morningwig goes, boys, we're going for it. 4th and 2. Let's go. He is crucified.
I've never seen a coach make that decision on 4th down and 2 in his own end.
He didn't want to put the ball in the hands of Peyton Manning, which tells his defense a lot, doesn't it?
I think there'll be a few things to talk about after this game.
I think it was the stupidest move in the history of football.
It was a real gutsy call.
Gutsy call and smart call. I did not think that at the time. That was one decision that ends up costing the Patriots a game.
Manning could not be stopped at that point. He figured out the Patriot defense.
There was nothing to suggest that the Patriots were about to rise up defensively.
Our percentage chance of winning this game is better than punting the ball away to Peyton Manning. If we don't make it, hopefully we can keep him out of the end zone. If we can't keep him out of the end zone, hopefully we'll have enough time to come back and still win the game.
Their clock management is normally very good. They make so many right decisions.
Advanced statistical analysis says that to go for it on 4th and 2 in that situation was the right play.
I was extremely unhappy it didn't succeed. By failing, it sort of validated every conservative impulse other coaches had.
Now instead of a gutsy call, it's an idiotic call. And now teams are never going to do that. And I think if Belichick is a situation again, he won't do it.
Really, the difference between a half yard there, everybody would say, wow, what a gutsy move by the genius Bill Belichick.
It's a game of inches, guys. It's, you come up, you're this short, or else you kneel on it for 3 plays and the game's over.
So you're telling me that half yard makes a difference between a brilliant call and an incredibly stupid call? I don't buy it.
If we gained 7 more inches, then, it's a great call.
Stay tuned to find out which trade was the gutsiest of all time.
The Houston Texans select Mario Williams.
Many gutsy calls come on draft day, like when the Texans took Mario Williams over fan favorites Reggie Bush and Vince Young.
Public sentiment first had been from Vince Young. He was the hometown hero. Once they realized we weren't going to take Vince Young, it was all for Reggie Bush. It was gutsy from the point of view of if you were going to worry about criticism. Yeah, we didn't worry about criticism.
In 1999, Mike Ditka traded the Saints' entire draft and then some to get Ricky Williams.
The New Orleans Saints select Ricky Williams.
It was gutsy. That's one way to describe it.
The Saints went 3-13, and Ditka lost his job.
The fact that you mortgaged the Saints' future had ramifications for years to come.
An even bigger trade landed on our list.
The number 9 gutsiest call of all time. The Herschel Walker trade.
I thought this would be all about on the field. This is what, a front office gutsy call?
When Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson joined forces in 1989,
hand of control, keep those hands up, look at me.
They inherited a terrible team with one shining star.
When Herschel Walker in 1988 rushed for 1,500 yards.
Touchdown Dallas! Herschel Walker!
He caught 50 passes.
Herschel Walker catches that one.
That's the only thing Jimmy Johnson had going for him.
5 weeks into Johnson's first season, Dallas traded running back Herschel Walker to the Minnesota Vikings.
The conventional wisdom is that you try to build around your best player. Well, guess what? Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones saw it differently.
Jimmy Johnson's like, look, we're going to be bad. We might as well trade one player for as much as we can get. You got to give Jimmy Johnson credit for the foresight to do that.
Was it gutsy? I don't know. Maybe it's just taking advantage of the moronic.
One owner said it's a great train robbery.
In what has become known as the trade, the Cowboys acquired 8 draft picks and 5 players, and the Vikings got what they thought was the final piece of a Super Bowl team.
3 number 1s, 3 number 2s, for a running back who at that time, had some mileage on him.
The Vikings sacrificed everything for one guy. It was like a garage sale. Here, take all our stuff.
If you're Jimmy Johnson, why wouldn't you make that move? That was gutsy on the Vikings' perspective. That was a crazy thing for them to do, to mortgage their future for one guy.
And I know the fans back in Minnesota just put their head in their hands on that one.
When Mike Ditka did this for Ricky Williams and when the Vikings do this for Herschel Walker, it's a huge gamble.
You say it was gutsy. Do you have the category nutsy? Because I think that's what that was.
I don't have a problem with that deal at all. You want to win? Sometimes you want to win right now.
Touchdown! Herschel Walker!
And you look at the greatness of Herschel Walker and the type of back he was.
And Herschel Walker electrifies the Cowboys.
Why not take a chance?
If Herschel Walker comes to the Vikings and rushes for 1,700 yards, then it's a great move. As it turns out, it basically built the Cowboys' dynasty.
How about them Cowboys?
Maybe people in Texas will tell you that was a great move, but I don't think anybody in Minnesota will tell you that required a lot of guts.
Viking fans somewhat disappointed he hasn't had more of an impact on the offense.
In 3 seasons with the Vikings, Walker played in just 1 playoff game, a blowout loss to the 49ers, in which he rushed for only 29 yards.
You got Herschel Walker, and the Cowboys got Super Bowl rings. So, dumb.
The number 8 gutsiest call of all time. Cowher's onside kick in Super Bowl 30.
I love Bill Cowher because he spits on people when he talks.
We're in our house, and right now,
screaming and getting in your face.
You can rush the quarterback.
Spit would fly, and you'd see guys like blinking when they were talking to him.
You understand? Yeah. Rush the quarterback.
Cowher has this image of just hard-nosed, ram it down their throats.
That's the way to run.
But you had Cordell Stewart doing the slash stuff with Cowher.
Cordell back, looking for the end zone. Touchdown, Pittsburgh.
Hines Ward and Antoine Randall L. connecting on that gadget play in the Super Bowl. Cowher, he's got a bag of tricks down there. And maybe that's the trickiest thing of all, is the fact that he puts up this whole tough guy, hard-nosed persona.
That's what I'm talking about.
But he's just like Mike Martz when it comes down to it.
The Dallas Cowboys walking out onto the field.
Our 8th gutsiest call of all time came in the second half of Super Bowl 30, with Bill Cowher's Steelers trailing the Cowboys.
We needed something. We needed a spark.
Let's go. A lot of football.
A field goal made the score 20-10 with 11 minutes left in the game.
I don't think people in that stadium that day felt that he's going to have the wherewithal, the guts to make that call.
Surprise onside. Hey, let's do it. Surprise onside.
It was a call that no one expected, and that's the beauty of those calls.
Kevin Williams and Brock Marion are the two deep, and the Steelers try an outside kick, and they got it! And a man running with the football at the 50, Deion Figures!
There was a gutsy call. They get that ball, short field, they march down, score, that game's over.
Oh, that's a great call.
If that wouldn't have worked, he would have heard it for a long time in Pittsburgh.
When you come into the Super Bowl, baby, you better come with a full arsenal. Let's go!
I give Chinny Chin Chin, Bill Cowher, a lot of credit with that call.
Look at the terrible towel swirling.
That was a gutsy call.
And we got a dandy in Super Bowl 30.
Yeah, I remember that. How could I not?
That was a gutsy call on the onside, though, right? Great call. Great.
The one he congratulated himself for about 1,000 times on the sidelines.
The ball's a call. That's a great call. I loved it. Got us into the game. Yes.
It was vintage, Bill. It worked. It really did get the Steelers back in the game. So, yeah, it was gutsy.
Cowher's call came in a loss, which is why it wasn't higher on our list.
Sometimes it was, sometimes it was.
Up next, a safe call that took a lot of guts to make.
I was watching the game at home with my dog. He was livid.
In Week 17 of 2007, Giants head coach Tom Coughlin played his starters against the undefeated Patriots, with New York's playoff position already locked in.
I do nothing but talk to our guys about winning. How the heck am I going to go into my team and start couching, well, if this happens and that happens, but if this doesn't happen, and that doesn't work for me.
I'll tell you right now, baby, you got everybody watching.
The leaping captain is knocked down at the 18-yard line. Touchdown! What a throw by Manning.
You're on the sideline thinking this is the best team in the league.
35-40 has a seam at midfield, breaks left.
And we're beating them? We're this close?
Just, 3-4 weeks later, they find each other in the Super Bowl, and all those Giants players know we've been in the trenches with these guys.
If you're a Giant fan, you're believing.
Turns out to be a brilliant move. Gutsy and brilliant.
Manning takes the snap, looks left, lofts left, throws it wide open, touchdown Giants!
While playing your starters can be risky, not playing them can be an even bigger gamble.
The number 7 gutsiest call of all time. The Colts rest their starters.
With the Patriots, Colts, and Belichick making that call on 4th and 2.
4th down? I can't believe this.
I thought that was going to be the most controversial call of the season. Then pulling Peyton Manning midway through the third quarter of what would have been a perfect regular season.
Curtis Painter is the quarterback.
Bill Polian made the decision along with Jim Caldwell that we got to go for the Super Bowl. Not the perfect season.
For the first time all season, someone other than Peyton Manning will take the snap.
To see his facial expressions,
you can see the look on Manning's face.
He obviously did not agree with that decision.
I'd be careful analyzing my facial expressions.
Our 7th gutsiest call of all time kept the Jet season alive and dropped the Colts to 14-1.
Those cheers turned to boos. Get it out of there!
This crowd is unhappy.
Remember the old Frankenstein movies where the villagers are running through the forest? They got the fire and the pitchforks. That was Colt Nation the Monday after that game. They were going after Bill Polian. They were going after Jim Caldwell. They were looking for Frankenstein.
It's a gutsy call to rest your starters. Bill Polian knows the fan base is going to be irate, and he knows he might even upset some players. But the reason the Colts are the Colts is because they have a model and they follow it to a T. Now, you might not agree with the model.
And that's not gutsy.
It really robbed the fans.
It probably was wrong.
Most people disagree, but the point is they follow the plan.
You still have to look at your objective.
It's not about going 16-0. It's about winning a Super Bowl.
The perfect season's never been one of our goals.
What makes this even gutsier, this model of resting starters had failed for the Colts the previous 3 times. 2005.
They missed it badly.
2007.
What was a great season has turned into mush.
2008.
8 touchdown charges.
And those guys are one and done in the playoffs. The only year they didn't rest starters was 2006. They won the Super Bowl.
World champions for the first time since 1971.
If Peyton Manning went down week 15 or 16, we'd be killing him. On sports radio in Indianapolis, we'd be killing him. How many chances do you have to get greatness?
As a player, you can't help but want that undefeated season.
I mean, that's what players dream of, to be perfect.
He just lost the first game in how many games?
When you take that away from these guys, it makes film study a little bit less urgent, practice a little bit less important. It changes the component of what they were doing. I think you give them a chance to do something that no one has ever done.
The number 6 gutsiest call of all time. Red Right 88.
Red Right 88. No one has ever forgotten about that.
49 seconds to play.
Red Right 88. I remember it very well.
I think the score at the time was 14-12. The Browns were driving into the wind.
The ball on the 13-yard line of the Raiders.
Kick the field goal and go home, right?
The only thing Sam Rutigliano's got to do is kick the field goal.
A great spotlight. This affects the 88.
No.
Rutigliano and Sipe decided to go for the touchdown. Cleveland may be a conservative city, but its coach is a gambler.
Sipe is going back to pass. Wants to take a shot into the end zone. He looks. He throws. And it's a great play that may have been intercepted. And the Cleveland Browns call the football once too often. Holy Toledo.
They only needed a field goal to win it.
I frankly am really startled that they would go for it all like that.
Here's a guy that threw 30 touchdown passes. He was the MVP of the National Football League.
Brian Sipe came off the field, and the first man to greet him was Sam Rutigliano.
I said, Brian, I love you. And that's all I said.
The Raiders met the Browns in Cleveland last Sunday with a temperature a knee-knocking 1 degree above zero.
Our 6th gutsiest call of all time came as a result of bad weather and a struggling kicker.
We missed field goals. We missed an extra point. We had to have another option. And our players, particularly offensively, felt we needed to attack them.
The red spotlight affects the 88.
I don't blame the play call. I mean, that's, you're taking a chance. Cockcroft there, afraid he's going to miss the field goal.
A lot of people questioned the decision, and one guy threw a brick through his television set.
People still talk about that all the time, and how Sam Rutigliano's an idiot. Maybe it was crazy. It does seem crazy now if we were throwing the ball at that time because the conditions were awful. But if he succeeds, not only do the Browns win that game, but I think if you're Brian Sipe, you'd be like, our coach really believes in us. So that was probably the gutsiest call that I can remember.
Cleveland's miracle cardiac kids have run out of miracles.
If I had an opportunity to do it all over again, I would do it.
Bad karma started right from that moment. Bad things stay with the Browns to this day.
Coming up, our top 5 gutsiest calls of all time and the Super Bowl champions who made them.
Tonight on NFL Total Access, Auburn.
Before we show off any more guts, here's a recap of the list so far.
Number 10.
I've never seen a coach make that decision on 4th down and 2 in his own end.
Bill Belichick goes for it on 4th and 2.
I think it was the stupidest move in the history of football.
Number 9. The Vikings mortgage their future for Herschel Walker.
You say it was gutsy. Do you have the category nutsy?
Number 8.
The Steelers try an onside kick.
Bill Cowher's onside kick in Super Bowl 30.
I give Chinny Chin Chin Bill Cowher a lot of credit with that call.
Number 7. At 14-0, the Colts rest their starters.
Perfect season's never been one of our goals.
Number 6. Down by 2 points, Sam Rutigliano tries for 6.
The only thing Sam Rutigliano's got to do is kick the field goal.
The red spotlight affects the 88.
No.
And now, the number 5 gutsiest call of all time. Bill Parcells fakes a punt. Number 5.
In the 1990 NFC Championship, the underdog Giants faced the two-time defending Super Bowl champion 49ers.
It was if we'd already penciled in a three-peat. They were going to beat the Giants and they were going to win the Super Bowl, period. It was going to be their 3rd in a row.
In one of the hardest-hitting playoff games of all time, the decisive blow was our number 5 gutsy call.
Clock is running, under 8.5 minutes to go. The drive to the short side, 13-9.
Yeah, I've tried to block that game mostly out of my head. The most painful game in Niner history. The most.
Punt team out there right now. It's 4th and 2.
Ooh, it's going to be a fake. They run across the 50, 45, 40, 35, 30. Down to the 25-yard line. What a run by Gary Reasons.
Boy, what a gutsy call.
One of the gutsiest calls of all time. And really kind of, I thought that epitomized Bill Parcells during that era. Big balls, big stones to make that call.
What I remember is we had it called the punt before. Reasons had made the call. He called it off at the last second. The next time we come out, the 49ers only have 10 men on the field. And the one guy that's not there just happens to be in the one place where when we call the fake, Reasons is going to run. How does that happen? Gary's eyes got big. He called the play right away, and he goes down and he makes a play that we don't win that game or go to the Super Bowl without it.
And they had a hole that Bill Parcells could have run through. Turns into a 30-yard run by Reasons. The Giants have a shot now.
Gary Reasons' run set up a field goal that brought New York to within a point of San Francisco.
13-12 with 5:47 to go.
On the 49ers' next possession, Roger Craig fumbled.
Loses the ball. Giants have it.
And the Giants drove down for the winning field goal.
Spot. Kick is away. It's got the distance. It is good. Good.
It's over for the three-peat.
If Bill Parcells doesn't call the fake punt, and if they don't get the succeeding field goal, then by the time they get the ball back for the last field goal, it wins the game. Maybe there is no time.
The gutsy call by Bill Parcells on 4th down was the key for the Giants.
He had the whatever to call this fake punt, and before you knew it, they were on their way to the Super Bowl.
Spot. In the air. It's got the distance. It is no good.
You gotta have stones to get somewhere in life, and he did it. He did it. I hate to say it, but all hail Bill Parcells.
Here we go, guys.
The number 4 gutsiest call of all time. Bill Parcells fakes a punt. Again.
Super Bowl programs. The only thing gutsier than a fake punt that gets you to the Super Bowl is a fake punt in the Super Bowl.
No one ever took a bigger risk than I took in the Super Bowl in '86. The score was 10-9. We were losing in the first series of the third quarter. We had the ball in our own side of the territory on 4th and 1, and we ran a fake punt for first down.
Trick play. Trick play.
You know, that's as big as they get.
The Giants on 4th and inches. Rutledge keeps the ball and dives ahead. I don't know if he got there. It all depends on the spot. And the Giants keep the drive alive.
The fact that he had the confidence to do that in a Super Bowl is amazing.
Bill Parcells on the sideline goes to the bag of tricks.
That is gutsy.
When you think about the situation, they were down 10-9. A Super Bowl that a lot of people thought that they were supposed to win. So many expectations from the entire city of New York on the back of him and his team. And he comes up with this gadget, and it works. It's why he's a Hall of Fame coach.
We'd run the same fake against the same team.
earlier in the year, and it had worked.
The Giants on 4th and inches. Denver doesn't have defensive backs on the field.
We ran out. They recognized it right away, knew where it was going. So Rutledge, who came in 2 different times, looks to the side to Bill. And I see Bill over there like this. And Rutledge looks back again, as if to say, Bill, they all know what's going on. And Bill had that look on his face like, yeah, I know, go ahead and run it. Quintessential Parcells. You know where it's going. I'll tell you where it's going. There's nothing you can do to stop it. We get it, go down, score, run off 20, 30 points, and never look back.
The Giants scored 30 second-half points following our number 4 gutsy call.
It turned into a blowout. It basically ignited the team in the second half and gave them their first Super Bowl championship. I think Bill Parcells, as much as people remember, run the ball, play defense, they forget he wasn't a coward.
It was 4th and 1 at midfield. There are a lot of coaches who would have said, let's punt it, I've got a tremendous defense.
So many coaches coach scared. They coach to play the percentages. That wasn't Bill Parcells.
You decided to gamble at that moment in this game. Tell me about it.
This is for the World Championship, and, it's not for faint-hearted people, so you got to take your shot.
You look back, everybody thinks he's a smash-mouth guy. I think that is the biggest misconception by far of his coaching style. He always used to preach to me, be daring. Well, I think history tells us there's not many coaches that have been more daring than Bill Parcells.
Coming up, a gutsy personnel decision perplexes our pundits.
That can't be on that category. Maybe change the category to like the stupidest things coaches and GMs have done.
That's not worthy of being in the top 10 of any list.
Somebody has got some explaining to do.
Gutsy calls don't always come on the field. Sometimes they're made by the front office.
Donovan, why did the Eagles trade you?
It's a great question, but you can ask them that. I have no answer.
And he's basically saying that I'm not afraid of you. With all due respect, he knows Donovan's strengths and his weaknesses. If you don't trade him in the division, you're kind of sending the message that you're afraid of him. So he didn't want to send the same message that Green Bay sent to Brett Favre when they didn't want to trade him to Minnesota.
Teams unloading star veteran quarterbacks is nothing new. But only once in NFL history did a defending Super Bowl champion not bring back its starter.
The number 3 gutsiest call of all time. The Ravens say goodbye to Trent Dilfer.
This is the ultimate gutsy call.
I don't think gutsy is the right word to get rid of Trent Dilfer. I think you can come up with some other words.
Misguided.
Ill-founded.
One of the most dubious decisions of all time.
I don't want to say any really bad words.
Maybe change the category to like the stupidest things coaches and GMs have done.
No quarterback had ever lost his job after winning a Super Bowl.
Boy, we just look lethargic.
During the 2000 season, a stretch of 4 straight games without a touchdown led Brian Billick to bench Ravens starter Kenny Banks.
You got to let Trent try to do something here now. Okay, you got to, Trent.
Trent Dilfer took over, and Baltimore went 7-1 en route to Super Bowl 35.
He was there to manage the game, not make mistakes. They had the best defense in the NFL, and they just had to score enough points, and he did that.
We just knew that if we can get to about 10 to 13 points, we can win football games.
The defense did carry him, but he made plays when he had to.
He's got a blocker, could go all the way.
And he was a tremendous leader.
Trent was not a out here, over here guy. He was one of the guys.
They loved this guy. He was a football player. He was beloved in that locker room.
Without him, unbelievable. We don't win the Super Bowl.
He did what he needed to do in that football game.
Welcome to Super Bowl 35.
The touchdown pass to Brandon Stoker was a great throw.
Middle for Stokely. He's got it. 10-5.
When I was on the sideline that day shooting sound, we had Brian Billick wired, and what I was hearing that day from Billick's wire, Trent Dilfer was driving Brian Billick crazy.
God almighty! Trent! Damn it! Trent! Step up and throw, son!
Trent took a bunch of unnecessary sacks.
Trent almighty! Just throw the damn thing away!
And from what I remember, he missed a bunch of wide-open receivers as well.
God almighty, Trent, how can you miss that? The ball just a little bit overthrown. Oh, God, man, we're not going to get many opportunities like that.
He's got Johnson open, and it's off his hands and
incomplete. Oh, God, if he just hits them! God, Trent!
In the Super Bowl, he throws a pick that is returned for a touchdown.
Watch the backer, watch the backer.
Takes a straight drop back, under pressure, lets it go, it's intercepted!
And Brian Billick is going nuts on him.
How do we intercept the screen?
And he might have just been done for the game, but they called us for a penalty and brought it back.
That's defensive holding! Yeah, gets them. God almighty! Trent!
Second half, Trent spent most of his time on the sideline watching the best defense in football win the Super Bowl for him.
Picked off! Chris McAllister has it! Oh, yeah!
You add it all up, you can understand why Brian Billick thought, maybe I've got to make a change at quarterback.
I don't know how you don't bring back a quarterback that just helped you win a Super Bowl, especially when you consider that they ditched him for Elvis Grbac.
Well, they know the dollar, right?
I'm a Michigan guy. Elvis Grbac? Are you kidding me? The minute Elvis entered the building, some Ravens would tell you privately that they thought they had no chance at repeating.
The first comment he made when he got to Baltimore, he said that he was there to make our football team better. So I don't think he knew we won a Super Bowl the year before.
How's Elvis working out?
I think he's an outstanding quarterback. I think he's going to bring us a whole new dimension.
It was a classic case of we've got our ring, we've been validated by success, now we have a carte blanche to do what we want. Who threw at me?
Guess Grbac.
Come on, Elvis.
In 2001, the Ravens failed to repeat. Both Gerbach's completion percentage and quarterback rating were worse than Dilfer's had been the previous season.
What a disappointment for the Ravens.
Turned out to be a huge mistake. Gerbach was one and done and then quit football the year after.
The Ravens, after they got rid of Trent Dilfer, were looking for a quarterback year.
Snap to Chris Redmond.
After year.
Jeff Blake drops back.
After year.
Anthony Wright back to throw.
After year.
Kyle Bowler back to throw.
After year.
The Ravens didn't really get over that mistake at quarterback until they took Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco. I'm ready to go.
Coaches do dumb things sometimes.
I don't think it was dumb. I think that you have to get better to win again. He looked and he said, you know what? We're not going to get better at running back. We have Jamal Lewis. We're not going to get better on defense because that defense was arguably the greatest defense ever in a single season.
We're talking about a defense that in the final 11 games, 9 times held opponents to 10 points or fewer. Can you bank on that 2 years in a row? The Ravens say no, you can't. We're going to need more offense at some point. Is Dilfer the guy?
What did Trent Dilfer do after he left Baltimore? He didn't take anyone else to the playoffs. He didn't win a lot of football games. I don't think that if you had Trent Dilfer for the next 5 years, you'd won a couple more Super Bowls. I don't believe that at all.
You could argue this is the gutsiest call of all time.
I would call it just an out-and-out wrong call.
Whether you agree or not with the decision, you have to respect that they decided to go in a direction. They went full speed in that direction. Obviously, it doesn't work out for them, but those kind of calls are what makes franchises great.
On one level, you can say it was gutsy, but on another level, I would just say you can't do that.
Up next, a trick play for the ages.
That's the element of surprise at its best. I could not believe what I was seeing.
It's 3rd and 1 yard to go for the championship.
Some of the gutsiest calls in NFL history have come with championships on the line.
United gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions.
In Super Bowl 23, the 49ers trailed the Bengals by 3 with 39 seconds left. Instead of playing for a field goal, Bill Walsh called 22 halfback curl X up.
I take great pride in that play.
Back to throw Montana.
They double. John went up. Joe hit him right on stride.
Down by 4 in the fourth quarter of Super Bowl 17, Joe Gibbs made a gutsy call on a 4th and 1.
Had to be 70 chip.
I left tight wing, 70 chip on white. Ready?
It was our power formation.
Yellow 40.
We were the Washington Redskins. We were the Hogs. We were John Riggins.
And a real good hole. He's got the first down to 40. He's gone. He's gone.
These Super Bowl winning calls took super guts, but still lagged behind our next selection.
The number 2 gutsiest call of all time. Sean Payton goes surprise onside in Super Bowl 44.
The onside
onside kick it here? We got to recover the onside kick, boys.
I think at the time, Sean Payton was thinking, listen, if we pull this off, people are going to talk about me for the rest of my life as a genius. Onside kick, let's do it.
So the Saints will kick it away, beginning the second half.
Here's the kickoff, and it's an onside kick, and the Colts had it, lost it, and the Saints, I think, have it.
It was gutsy because they recovered it. If you don't recover it, it's stupid and arrogant.
Nothing that works can ever be considered stupid. Sean Payton did the right thing. It helped them win the game.
The kick went right to the guy to recover the kick, and he blew the recovery. It bounced off of him.
And it was Hank Basket.
And that gave Sean Payton a chance to have his team recover and make the call look good.
If you're banking on the Colts making a mistake, who do you want to bank on? Peyton Manning or Hank Basket?
I'll tell you something about this call that you don't know. At the start of the second half, the Saints had their choice whether to kick from their right to their left. Sean just basically didn't care. He goes, left to right. But then he realizes if it's going to be near a sideline, I want it near our sideline.
Let's go this way. I want to go this way.
Here's the kickoff, and it's an onside kick.
Because I want every official hearing. Saints ball, New Orleans ball.
We got it. Blue ball.
White ball. White ball.
White ball. White ball. White ball. White ball.
I don't want their guys getting in the scrum.
Hey, we got the ball.
And still no indication.
You look at the replay of that, and you look at how many Saints are pulling Colts out of the pile.
You get out of here. You get out of here. You get out of here.
That might have been the longest scrum in Super Bowl history. I still don't know who recovered the fumble.
We think Chris Reese is the man who recovered it.
The Peyton onside kick was really gutsy, but if you look at the numbers, it's not that crazy.
Going surprise onside right.
Surprise onside kicks since 1996 have been successful 70% of the time.
What a surprise!
That recovery rate is so good that it's actually a really good gamble.
The chances of success go up when the element of surprise goes up.
An onside kick shocked everybody. Hey, y'all surprised us on that one.
What in the world could be more surprising than doing it coming out in the second half of the Super Bowl?
That's the element of surprise at its best.
Gutsiest of all time, top 3, top 4 of all time. That's tough because if the onside kick fails, there's still a whole half of football to be played. It's not a make or break play.
I'm not even sure if it goes in the top 10.
I think the fact that you were willing to do it in the Super Bowl is praiseworthy because it's the Super Bowl. You are taking a chance with everything on the line.
The fact that they recovered that onside kick and then went in to score, I think that's a 14-point swing, and they won by 14 points in that Super Bowl.
Bill Parcells is on the list, and Sean Payton's a Bill Parcells disciple, and Sean Payton's telling us that Bill Parcells told him you got to have big ones to go win a Super Bowl. He absolutely deserves it.
Payton making that call, that's what defines champions. In life, on a football field, if you want the brass ring, you got to be gutsy sometimes, and Payton was in that situation.
That is the ultimate gutsy call, so I'd love to know what's number one.
Then stay tuned, Mr. Total Access. Up next is the number 1 gutsiest call of all time.
That's the all-time gutsiest call ever? That's a great call.
Before this show sinks any further into the gutter, let's recap our list so far.
Number 10.
Fourth down, I can't believe this.
Belichick gambles on 4th and 2.
It was a real gutsy call.
Number 9. How about them Cowboys? Dallas and Minnesota make a blockbuster deal.
It's a huge gamble.
Number 8. Cowher shocks the Cowboys.
Surprise onside.
It was a call that no one expected, and that's the beauty of those calls.
Number 7. The Colts show guts. Get him out of there! By making the safe call.
We got to go for the Super Bowl. Not the perfect season.
Number 6. Tigliano risks it all with Red Right 88.
That was probably the gutsiest call that I can remember.
Number 5. The tuna pulls off a whale of a fake.
It's going to be a fake.
Big stones to make that call. We don't win that game or go to the Super Bowl without it.
Number 4. Parcells fake punt. Punt.
No one ever took a bigger risk than I took in the Super Bowl.
It's why he's a Hall of Fame coach.
Number 3, the Ravens dump Dilfer.
What did Trent Dilfer do after he left Baltimore?
Number 2, the Saints pull off a Super Bowl surprise.
It's an onside kick.
That's the element of surprise at its best.
The number 1 Gutsy's call of all time. Vince Lombardi sneaks his way to icon status.
When you look at Lombardi's defining moment as a head coach, it has to be the call he made at the end of the Ice Bowl.
Third down, inches to go. 17-14. Cowboys out in front. Starr begins the count. Takes the snap. He's got the quarterback. He's in for the touchdown, and the Packers are out in front.
By far, the gutsiest call of all time. No question, it's number 1.
It's a good pick for number 1 because the game itself is so famous.
It's the championship game. You've got one play left to win or lose the championship.
And it was under frigid conditions. I think it's also the coach, Vince Lombardi.
It cemented Lombardi's reputation. It typified Packer football and just the way he coached.
It was a huge gamble.
If Starr doesn't get in the end zone, the game is over. And with the footing down there, it was certainly no sure thing.
They're down on a part of the field where in the previous 2 downs, the running back has slipped.
The Packers call time again. That's all the timeouts the Green Bay Packers have.
They took the last timeout, and Starr goes over to talk to Lombardi.
17-14. Cowboys out in front.
It's third down. There's 16 seconds left in the game.
You had 2 options, really. One of them is to just kick the field goal then and play for overtime.
Even under the conditions, they were going to be able to kick what was pretty much an extra point.
Or you have an extra down here. You could have called some kind of a rollout pass.
The book says you have to roll out.
Try and throw the pass, and if it's not there, you just throw it out of bounds.
So that they can at least attempt the field goal on 4th down.
The play that they called was 31 wedge. It was meant to be a handoff to Chuck Mersine, but Bart Starr told Lombardi during the timeout, and it's all ice. Let's call 31 wedge. Let's block it the same way we normally block it. But it's going to be a quarterback sneak. Lombardi said, okay, let's go with it. So everybody on the team thinks it's going to be a handoff to Mersine, but it wasn't at all. The only ones who knew were Lombardi at Starr.
I'm not an NFL historian, but when it's cold, why hand it off to somebody else? Just take it and get in there.
The Green Bay Packers are going to be world champions.
I guarantee you, if we come down to that situation at the end of any of these upcoming Super Bowls, I'm sure 100% of the coaches, they're going to play for overtime. They're not going to go for the touchdown to win the game. And that's just something you don't very much see in a world where coaches are so scared about being second-guessed.
Timeout! What the hell's going on out here?
Sorry, St. Vince, but some in the crowd think Sean Payton's onside kick is gutsier than your quarterback sneak.
We got it. Sean Payton's call coming out of halftime was huge, was big.
Payton's call in this day and age, with the media scrutiny, where everything is second-guessed, he ran the risk of immediately being labeled a GOAT.
The onside kick that Sean Payton went for at the beginning of the second half. Yeah, it's a gutsy move, and you really don't see it very often in Super Bowls, but that's the beginning of the second half.
Hey, what about that now? I don't want your advice here.
The gutsy call is made when the clock is ticking down.
Geez, I'm a nervous wreck.
This is silly here. Ice Bowl, where it's do or die, where you got a yard to go, and you make it, you win. If you don't, you lose.
If it fails, is it gutsy or just stupid?
It's stupid, because then you've got that Chinese fire drill when they scramble the kick team, and you just look so dumb. So that pendulum could have swung all the way to, wow, just look away.
If that's the game that, in a lot of people's minds, defines the Lombardi era, it takes on a whole different feel if you lose.
If the Green Bay Packers are stopped on the 1-yard line and time runs out on a failed running play at the end of the 1967 NFL Championship, the Packers are still a great team, but Vince Lombardi is not the legend he is today. Maybe the Super Bowl trophy is not even named after him if that play doesn't work out.
After the game, Lombardi was asked why he made the call. He said, these types of plays aren't called from the heart, they're called from the gut. And that's what makes it a gutsy play.
I still think to this day it is an extremely, extremely gutsy call.
That's the all-time gutsiest call ever.
He's got the quarterback.
That's a great call.
And the Green Bay Packers are going to be world champions.
Everything about that was gutsy. And it stayed gutsy because it worked.